At what point does it get to you being raised up right to really kind of what's the beginning of that turning point?
Like what you just said, Tupac, all this type of music was coming on the scene like seventh grade year. So the neighbor across the street. So I'm in what, maybe the sixth grade, ride my bike to the general store, and everybody's watching know the general store, the Yang Yang store, what
Mm,
I'm talking about. So I'm riding across the highway, and back then you can get cigarettes for 25 cents.
mm,
They didn't. You can go to the pawn shop, didn't have to have a license. So I'm punning then hustling that way and going to the general store buying cigarettes, Swisher Sweet cigarettes back then.
mm.
So I smoke it, maybe puff it one time, throw it, leave it all the way across the highway in the woods. Then come back the next day. If I feel like smoking it again,
Mm-hmm.
get it out the woods, smoke it. So that seven, that maybe the age of 12, maybe I believe that what it was. That turn started coming because I got cousins that uh bloods, like that's all you know
Mm,
we gang signs. And I grew up in K-Town. That's Creole where all the gangsters at.
mm.
But my cousin there, my grandma's house was on South Side. That's Second and Frederick Street. So everybody knew me in Creole. Everybody knew me on South Side.
Right.
So I can ride my bike from Creole to the South Side, but we really didn't fool with the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like gangsters and bloods mixed, really. But that South Side and K Town, I hung around a lot of gangsters and I hung around a lot of bloods and VLs. So, that's how I grew up. So that back then that gangster life was coming in, and then we possessed with pop, possessed with all this other music. So now we want an ice cream man. So that gangster rap was at the height
Mm.
then. Like, so now that turn is coming on. So now we smoking weed. Now we drinking. Uh, the neighbor across the street, he used to get moonshine and sell moonshine
Mm.
like by the gallons, by the truckload. And so when he would go to work, his son, he know what I'm talking about. His son, we
Yeah.
would go across the street. He had weed in the safe
Mm-hmm.
and moonshine. His mama smoked Virginia Slim. So we got cigarettes, we got alcohol. Moonshine is one of the strongest like alcohols you can drink on the face of this earth.
Having a good old
So
time.
we filling Gatorade bottles up. This is what we went to school every day, smoking weed and with Gatorade bottles full of moonshine. So I'm sitting in class, what, 13 years old. I'm getting drunk while the teacher's teaching in the class.
They see you doing this?
They don't see me doing, but I got a Gatorade bottle. They didn't
Okay.
check your Gatorade bottle. If you got a
Mm-hmm.
bottle, you just, you got to buy that. Because that was back then.
Mm-hmm.
In that age, like they wasn't checking to see what you got.
Right.
So I'm sipping in the class. I'm getting straight in the class. Like right there. And in the class, when they break up the class, tell you to get your partner something,
Mm-hmm.
then I got homeboys that was in there and on the table, they just crack a powder just on the table. The teacher like ain't paying you no attention. So I remember snorting powder in the classroom.
You know what? The first movie that comes to my mind when you saying all this.
Lean on me.
Lean on me. East Side High. That's all I can think of.
That's,
East Side High.
I'm telling you, Ed Mayo Junior High was like the movie that you see, Lean on Me. Like, I can remember in one instance, uh, I, an incident happened where somebody tried to fight my cousin. I was in the bathroom, but they was gangsters, and all my people was blood.
Mm-hmm.
So LCB Projects was right there. So they tried to fight him. I walked in the bathroom like, man, Trey, what happened? They're like, they tried to jump me. So I remember my cousin, his name was Raphael. He came out of class like everybody. Like, people feared him. Like, you know, he was like the cousin that, you know, I ain't gonna say he was the coolest, cause we was like equal.
Yeah.
But he was like
That
a
big
little bit,
that big cousin.
yeah, he was like a little bit on up there.
Mhm.
and and he heard about it. Everybody in the school broke out of the classes, and it was like he was leading the army to the front door. And they was lean on me when he was, I can't remember his name. What was his name? The principal. But he,
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Mhm.
They were like, close the door, lock the door. They chained up the school because they was out in the front parking lot shooting in the front of the school, because I'm telling you, he was finna get like, he was finna go crazy. And this type of stuff we was
Mhm.
involved in like all the time. So I mean, it was crazy.
Man.
It was.